thing, and all of that is the defense attorney is doing what he can to establish that. But it still boils down to one particular point. And tomorrow, I think it's either tomorrow or the next day, I'm not sure exactly. I just heard in passing from some other people actually in court that tomorrow she is going to, Kelsey, the other young lady who was there in the car, is going to testify as well. And that's going to be very telling, because pretty much the defense attorney is trying to build a case that it's possible that, you know, Kelsey also could have been a shooter, or Kelsey could have been the shooter. That Kelsey could have been the shooter. But, you know, Megan is very clear that once she heard "dance bitch," she turned around and looked quickly and saw Tory Lanez with a gun pointed at her, and that he shot at her feet. You know, she's very clear about that. It hasn't changed. The live that she did a month after the shooting all the way through now, that has been the same statement. In fact, everything they asked her, even in places where she had to be, you know, her mind, it had to be sort of recollect her memory of different things, and where they had to, you know, read statements or whatever, it still all basically comes back to the same point. So either Kelsey's going to say that she shot her tomorrow, right? Either she's going to say that she shot her, or she's going to say that he shot her. Because one thing that, or at least here's my position. I can't see a scenario where she's going to go to court and say, I don't know who shot her, because she's in the car and somebody shot her. That's clear. And they played the shots today. You heard the shots. You know, you heard the whole thing. It was 5 shots. It was the shots happened. The bullet fragments are in her feet, so the shots happened. So either, you know, it's a tight position to be in, because tomorrow, or at least today, and I think throughout this process, and even in the sort of court of public opinion, it's clear to me that the defense's position is that there is some sort of reasonable doubt based upon the fact that Kelsey could be the shooter. So we'll see, you know, how that all happens. And, you know, let me just block a few people. I see folks is agitating, you know, so at the end, you know, my position, someone said, you know, why did Tamika and Mallory go to court today? 2 reasons. Because I felt like it, and I have the right to do whatever it is that I want to do. And nobody's going to intimidate me or make me feel like I can't go. And the second reason is because I know for sure that a black woman was shot. I know that. I read it in the documents. The doctor said it. The surgeon said it. I know a black woman was shot. And to be quite honest with you all, just watching how Megan has been attacked by men on social media has triggered me so much. Even some women, but, you know, even that, maybe I'm biased in that, you know, we have our own conflicts between women. But the fact that she has been attacked the way that she has, particularly by some of these men who have major platforms, it has made me feel that I need to make sure that at least whatever comes out, whatever it is, whatever happens, that I'm not afraid to stand by a woman who was shot. And that's it, you know. I'm not afraid to stand by a woman who I know was shot, and she deserves support. There's a lot of people out there who are you know, who have their opinions one way or the other, and I feel that she also deserves you know, to have support because she was shot. And that's it. So I'm not going to sit here and do what I see some other people trying to do, is to tell you, you know, this is going to be the outcome, or this is what I believe, or, you know, I feel will be the outcome. I don't know. But I do know that a woman was shot. There are 3 people that could have shot her. No one is saying that the driver was involved at all whatsoever. Nobody. I've not heard a scenario where the driver is being introduced into the situation as a potential shooter at all. Someone says, what if a woman shot a woman? Is that your stance? Well, evidently that is my stance, because Shanquella Robinson was killed in my judgment, and there was a woman attacking her, and that hasn't stopped me from speaking up for Shanquella Robinson. So whether it's a woman or man, what I know is that a woman was shot. A woman was shot, absolutely shot. And just like we run and tweet and post condolences or support for our brothers, as we should, when they are shot, when they are harmed, when they are killed, she deserves the same thing. She deserves people to support her and stand by her as a woman who was shot, because she is a victim of a shooting. So just the same way that I am willing, I saw the same video you all saw of Shanquella Robinson being beaten, and I didn't sit there and say, well, because of the fact that it was a woman that was beating on her, that I'm not going to go or get involved, and because it's black people, I won't get involved. You know, no, I didn't say that. I have said very clearly, 100%, that I stand with Shanquella's family, and I also stand with Meg Thee Stallion, because I know she was shot. Period. So, you know, when people question why would Tamika Mallory show up and what would make her, because I said so, because I felt like it, because I felt that that's something that I needed to do. And however it goes, whatever happens, I'm there because I know that this black woman who was shot, who is a victim of a shooting, needs to have people around her that are there to tell her it's okay to tell your story. It's okay, that she should not feel that she can't tell her story and what it is that happened to her. So that's it. Did you see the video of the man yelling at her, asking why she's going on? Oh no, I thought she was going to say something else. No, I didn't see that video. I didn't see that video. So that's that on that. You know, I saw something else that was, there was another, you know, sort of narrative that was developing today, and I wanted to make sure that I make sure that you all understand. From what I understand is that what I saw folks trying to say today was that after the shooting, she got back in the car. And that's not what happened, from what I heard. Somebody else who might be here could tell me if I'm bugging, but I know I'm not, but you know, just in case. They were arguing back and forth. There seems to be different types of arguments, but particularly people arguing, Tory arguing with these women. And for the sake of this conversation, because obviously I wasn't there, let's just say that everybody was arguing. I don't know, because I don't care to try to say it was this or that or this or that and the third. Let's just say everybody was arguing. Who at whatever position they were arguing, whatever point they was arguing, everybody was arguing. The car was full of arguments. She got out the car in a thong and in a little thin bathing suit. I guess she jumped in the car, which we've all done, or at least I know I have. Maybe you haven't. But she jumped in the car, didn't have the appropriate covering on her. So as she was out in the street trying to walk away from them, she was not dressed appropriately. It wasn't a good look for pictures, people taking pictures. She's out on the street, she's not dressed appropriately. It's going to make everybody look crazy. It's not a good idea. So she goes and she gets back in the car. And they continue going back and forth. And I'm just, again, for the sake of this, I'm not saying that she said this or that anybody else said it. I'm saying it. This is Tamika Mallory, so that I can help you get past trying to make this about who was arguing. Let's just say she was in a bikini, JD class. So just for the point of this conversation, everybody was having an argument. I'm not going to sit here and try to just tell y'all, well, it was this one and this one was arguing about this and that and the third. Anybody could have been arguing, whatever. So as this whole thing happens, she gets back in the car. It is after the second time that she gets out the car that the shooting occurs, and she does not get back in the car. She goes over to a driveway and collapses at the driveway and sits there, and she says people came over to her, and then and in fact I'm wrong, because you're right. I mean, whoever was right, somehow or another they did get her back in the car, but it's seconds after they get back in the car, the police arrive and they arrested them. So she does get back in the car. That's right. She does get back in the car. But she's back and forth. They're arguing, and they get back in the car, and then she gets out, she goes over to the driveway, she collapses, and she ends up back in the car. And no one seemed to dispute all of those things. Like that, those things seem to be foundational issues, right? So just hearing what they're saying, no one seems to be disputing that after a shooting, she's in the car, right? So let me see. So who actually heard the gunshots? Well, the gunshots are actually in an audio. Like, it's in an audio. The people, I guess, witnesses heard gunshots. Obviously, she says she heard gunshots, but there's audio. Again, no one is disputing that. No one is disputing that. Were they sober? They have been drinking. They definitely have been drinking. I don't think anybody's disputing that either, but of course we haven't heard from him, so maybe he'll say he wasn't drinking. I don't know. But it seemed that it was clear that people have been drinking. It says thought innocent until proven guilty. I think that is true, that you are innocent until proven guilty. And at this point, they're in the process of figuring out who's guilty and who's not. What are the charges? Yeah, I don't know all the charges. They were arguing outside the car, and people started recording, not knowing what was happening. They didn't really talk about that today. Y'all desperate for it not to be Tory. If Kelsey shot her, she would have said so. Man, had absolutely no gain to say, blah, blah, blah. Video of the clip from that night. Exactly. So the clip from that night shows that, I mean, it's clear. You hear audio of a shooting. There's 5 shots. There is, and I mean, I've been saying that since the beginning. That the reality is that the woman got shot. That's a fact. Does her past lives affect her truth? Well, you know what? Let's talk about that, right? Because I think it's fair to discuss that. Here's what I will say. It is not unusual to me to have someone lie, especially when people they are close to are involved with an incident. It is not unusual for people to lie. Like, this is something that victims do often. And in fact, you often have situations where people go into the hospital with one story, and then when they're in the hospital, they find out that, or the surgeon or the doctor, somebody who might see a bruise, or they might see something, and you're trying to tell them, well, no, I just fell, and they're like, this is not really consistent with a fall. This looks like someone broke your arm or whatever, and then those things unfold and more stuff comes out. That's not unusual. It is something that happens all the time. So that part I'm not concerned about. But I do think that the whole issue of, and I could sit here and say to you, if I wanted to, I could give you all my opinion that is so strong one way or the other, because, we all have our opinions. So I could easily get into this is what I strongly believe, right? But, reason why I'm saying that is because what I think is concerning is the issue around whether or not they actually slept together. I think that's a thing that is going to impact I think a lot of people can accept and deal with the idea that victims lie about abuse or, or harm that's done to them all the time. When it comes to did you have sex with him or not, that's a point that is going to impact the way people feel about, her state of mind or why she's not telling the truth about these things, or whether or not she's a liar. Let's just say that. I personally know that, there are times, or I'm not even going to say that. I could, say a bunch of stuff, but I'm not going to do it because I want it to be clear that it's not here. I'm not here to try to make you believe one thing or the other, because I think it's all going to continue to unravel. And the main thing it's not that I'm trying to make you believe. The thing that I want to make sure you know, is that she 100% was shot. And whether she slept with him and 25 other people, she could have slept with the entire police department and the lawyers of America and the rappers of America and everybody. She could have slept with every person in the world. She still was shot. And that ain't cool. That ain't cool. It just ain't cool. And whether or not, she should have just said emphatically, I slept with him and that's it. Me, I'm a different person. And so I probably would have said a bunch of shit that might even get me in even more trouble, because that's just me and run my mouth too much. And I could think of a million reasons why, as a woman, she didn't say it. But the end result, no matter whether she didn't, or this, that, and the third, it is very clear that she did not tell the truth about that. So that's it. But she was shot. So I hear you that she should have said she slept with him and then this happened, and then y'all want to, not y'all, but people want to go through her entire sex life. Whoever she slept with, however she did it up, down, to the left, to the right, with 6 people, with 10 people. She could have slept with anything and anybody y'all want to say in the world. She was shot. That's it. She was shot. And that, I don't know what's going on with this earpiece, but she was shot. Be it intimate, but she said no sex. We're wrong. But you know what? I hear it. And what is this? Pre-simus or something like that. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. That, intimate and sex is 2 different things. I hear you. And we could sit here and argue that, penis and vagina is sex, and then other things fall on the fringes of intimacy. We could say that. But that's actually not what was discussed today. She said herself today that she lied. Period. She said, I didn't even want to talk about the man that I slept with shot me. I didn't even want to talk about it. Embarrassed, this and that. She said all of that. So the bottom line, why this, that, she lied. Period. And that's not unusual, Kenji, to have your character assassinated. Doesn't matter. It matters because it's a motive. Okay, so tell me what's the motive, Akira. I love to hear when you say it's the motive. What does that mean? Like, I'm gonna wait for you to circle back on that. What is the motive? She explained to them why she lied. Hey, Danny D. Right. Because I hear you. I get that what people are trying to say is that, well, if she slept with, I don't even know. Matter of fact, I don't hear you. I want to know. When you say that she, it's motive.